HHH1987.com.
Terrell Thomas here in Atlanta with Hip Hop since 1987 in downtown Atlanta at the Gathering Spot. And I'm with a young lady whose family's legacy has been doing things in the community for social justice and in arts for a long time. She goes by the name of Gina Belafonte, and we're here to talk about several things. But first and foremost, I want you to talk about your father, Harry Belafonte, and why we're here today.
Well, my father, Harry Belafonte, is one of the most extraordinary men that ever walked the face of this planet, I will say. Yes, I'm biased, but I think some of what I'm speaking is definitely truth. He has been an activist, a humanitarian, and an artist all of his life. And we're here coming down into Atlanta to do a 2-day festival that was of his imagination and his design. He wanted to bring together artists and activists to shine a light on specific issues. And so about 3 years ago, we started a foundation called Sanfoka.org that solicits the support, donation, collaboration of artists, thought leaders, and celebrities in partnership with grassroots organizations to shine a light on specific issues.
So, working with your father throughout your years, you know, as you gave mention to, your father is an extraordinary man. I know you did a documentary on your father not too long ago that received rave reviews. Why now? You know, in a time where our nation, we're about to see our first African-American president exit the White House. We're going through a lot of racial tension right here in America with things going on in New York and Louisiana, right, you know, directly on our home front. Why now? I know your organization has been around for a while, but as far as the actual festival, Many Rivers Festival, why now and why here in Atlanta?
Well, I think history often pushes us to a point where we have to activate. And I think with all of the things that have been happening in our country around police brutality, the militarization of our police, this upcoming election, the murders of so many young black and brown men and women and trans men and women, and I think that the time is ripe, and it's happening because a new leadership has emerged. A new movement of young folks has emerged and is making us do it. They're pushing us to engage. They're pushing us to shift and change systems and narratives. And I think that we are compelled to do so. And my father has always supported young people. His role in the civil rights movement was often to bridge the communication between young folks and the elders of the civil rights movement. And he's done that work forever. And he continues to do it today. And I think that we're at a moment and an opportunity with so much incredible organizations on the ground and activists on the ground that are organizing strategically around how to create a better society and a more beloved community that Dr. King spoke about. And Atlanta, because, well, there's the history of Atlanta and its relationship to the civil rights movement, of course, with Dr. King and so many movements that have emerged and activations that emerged during the civil rights movement out of Atlanta and this area in Georgia and the South. And also because a really dope spot and a plot of land showed up for us, and we were like, let's do it. Let's do it, you know, the universe is speaking to us. And my father thought it was exceptionally poetic for his own journey, for him to arrive in Atlanta to do this work this way. He's in his 90th year of life, and you know, it's just a beautiful poetic culmination of a body of work, and he's happy to do it here.
Several influential people throughout the world and in the industry serve on Sankofa's board. Yourself, your father, and you also have many heavy hitters will be at the festival. Can you talk to me about who will be on the lineup and some of the members of the board, and just, you know, what they do and how they serve?
Sure. So we have an advisory board because we are actually a project of the New World Foundation. And the New World Foundation is the oldest civil rights organization in the country, and they are our fiscal sponsor. So they are helping us emerge. We're only a 3-year-old organization. So on our board, it's an advisory board. Okay. And on our advisory board is Danny Glover, Michelle Alexander, Vince Warren from the Center for Constitutional Rights, Jesse Williams, young actor and activist, My father, Colin Greer, who is the president of the New World Foundation, also serves as our advisor and a very strategic partner for us. Who am I leaving out? Michael Skolnick, who is in social media and an incredible activist in his own right, an artist as well, filmmaker. He is also on our board of advisors. And, we've been working very hard to cultivate. Danny Glover is also on our board of advisors. We have a multi-generational group. Maria Cuomo-Cole, who is the executive director of Help USA, which is one of the largest organizations that develop and create permanent and transitional housing for homeless, and in particular homeless veterans, male and female. So we have a lot of thought leaders and really incredible minds and social justice activists and leaders in their own right, and artists who are participating with us in helping us guide the vision of Sankofa.
The festival will take place in the beginning of October. We know some of the headliners, John Legend, Common, T.I. Talk to me a little bit about the roster and how you guys reached out to them, or if they've reached out to you wanting to donate their time and their talents, to the movement.
Well, October 1st and 2nd in Chattahoochee Hills, Georgia, at Buckhart Farms, we will embark upon an incredible lineup of artists who have come together to shine a light on the issues and to shine a light on the voices and the speakers and the organizational partners that we have from Sankofa that will be coming. The way it started was that my father put out a clarion call to activate a lot of artists in this movement, and in a moment where I think is finding he's in the end of the autumn of his winter years. He's seeing his time in this space and passing the baton in a very critical way. And so he made a call to Carlos Santana, he made a call to Dave Matthews, he made a call to Chris Rock, to John Legend, to Common. And when those guys came on board, he felt that he had enough artistic power to activate other artists that might be interested. And then the other members of our board, Jesse Williams, came on board. Activists like Cornel West and Brian Stevenson came on board. And we found that these voices were revered in the community among not only the other activists in the community, but also artists. And I think also because my father has a tremendous track record, that a lot of people in his network trust him and trust his strategy and trust his intentions. And so they felt very comfortable being in this space. They felt that they would be taken care of and that they would be respected with the value of what they could contribute. So that's how it started. And then once those artists started to activate in this space and we started to reach out to other artists to say that they were on board, other artists came on because they felt more comfortable knowing that other artists, perhaps even bigger in their celebrity and platform than they were willing to use their platform to do this. And so they were going to lead by example of those artists that were also leading by example. So then other artists came on board. And also a lot of different artists are coming on board at different times in their own journey. For instance, we have done some work with Usher in the past. They've come on board with us at Sankofa. He put out a song called Chains, which is a song about police brutality and gun violence. And he partnered with Sankofa to create that video and to create the campaign around the chains and to shine a light on that issue. And in the same vein, T.I. Tip has been moving forward with his own creative expression of this moment. He was very, very moved by the deaths of Alton Sterling and Castile, and he wanted to say something about that. And in the process of finding a way in which to emerge with authenticity, he chose to put a lineup of elders he wanted to speak to, and one of the first ones on his list was my father. And so he came and heard about what we were doing, and he immediately wanted to participate and get on board and work with us. And so many artists have found their ways in. Estelle, we had the good fortune to partner with Blackout for Human Rights for the Flint event, and Estelle came on board when she learned what else that we were doing and wanted to participate. And Guapale came on when we were working with Baji, with Black Alliance for Just Immigration. She was the headliner for their event, and then we told her about what was happening, and she wanted to come on board. So we've been doing a tremendous amount of outreach and network and uplifting other organizations, and through our work in that, other artists have learned about who we are and have been coming on board.
Now, although people will be coming down here October 1st and 2nd for a good time, and we'll all be having fun, and we'll be celebrating, and we'll be partying and things of that nature, the gist of the festival and the movement is to educate and inform and actually, as you say, activate and to look for ways to find change. If I were an artist or an athlete or a community group or something like that, and I wanted to sponsor the event, if I wanted to purchase tickets to donate, how would I go about doing so?
Well, if you are interested in being a sponsor, you can certainly contact us at sankofa.org. So it's www.sankofa.org, and reach out to us at info@sankofa.org and let us know that you're interested in being a sponsor. Also on our website, we have a splash page on the front page on how to buy tickets for the event. Ticketfly is coordinating that effort for us, and our social media is another way to engage with the hashtag Many Rivers Fest, and that's how you can find a way to our spot.
Now, if I want to come down here from New York or from Los Angeles, and I'm like, wow, do I come for both days or do I come for one day? Will there be single day tickets available? Will there be double day tickets available? How would that work?
Well, certainly we'll have single day tickets, and we're going to announce our lineup of who will be playing on those days very shortly. If I were you, I'd find a way to come for both days, because both days have very different programming, and we're excited to share the artistry and the platforms of different folks on different days. But if you can only come for one day, I highly recommend you come. You can come for either. They're both going to be equally as dynamic and exciting.
What can we expect to take place once the festival ends? What will we expect from the Many Rivers Fest in the future? How will it continue to stay active, not just in Atlanta, but across the nation? And what also can we expect from Sankofa in the future?
Well, we're hoping to engage the audience of Many Rivers Fest ongoing, and we hope to bring the festival either back to Atlanta or to another location in the country, where we also want to shine a light on the ground and the work that's being done in that state, in that area. For the future, Sankofa is an organization that will be ongoing. We have a multiplicity of artists and organizations that are partnering with us ongoing. In 2017, we'll be doing a year campaign with Tent Revival Tour, and leading up to a concert in Los Angeles commemorating the Poor People's Campaign and Dr. Martin Luther King's call to action around the Poor People's Campaign. So we'll be activating artists and thought leaders all throughout this nation next year. And I hope that our festival attendees will walk away from the festival feeling a little bit more grounded in the movement, observing and listening and understanding that there is a decentralized space, but it is on point, it is activated, it is specific, there are specific legislative opportunities, we are organized, and that they will also walk away finding ways in which to activate themselves, either literally with the different organizations that will be representing themselves, or finding new ways in which to activate themselves. Everybody comes to movement work from a different perspective. And so we're hoping that we can meet everyone where they're at, and that they'll feel compelled to participate with not only the activations that are right in front of them on the ground, but also nationally. We're hoping to register people to vote. We'll be about 10 days to a week out from the voter registration that ends in Georgia. And also that will activate folks to not only participate in the upcoming presidential election, but also to activate themselves in local elections, so that they can find ways in which that they can take ownership and responsibility for their communities and participate in the democracy.
We have about 6 weeks until the events take place. If people want to stay in contact with what you have going on personally,
yes.
If they want to stay in contact with Sankofa, and if they just want to stay in contact with the festival, how would they go about doing so via social media?
Well, we're at Many Rivers Fest. That is our hashtag. That is where you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And also, please plug into sankofa.org. And on our social media, we are sankofa.org. And, you can find us that way.
Terrell Thomas here in Atlanta at the Gathering Spot with the one and only Miss Gina Belafonte. Stay tuned to Hip Hop Since 1987. Make sure you get down here to Atlanta October 1st and 2nd for an experience like no other. If you can't make it out, please go online and find ways to donate so we can help bring change to America.
Peace.